Hello everybody and welcome to Russia. We're at the circuit of Marnicq. It's round 10 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Russia, and welcome to our live studio show here once again on MXGP TV. Joining us today are Kjer Olsen from Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing, Tony Cairoli from Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. We have the team manager from Kjer Yamaha, of course, a blast from the past, Marnicq Bervoets, who I'm told is sporting a rather delicious new haircut. We'll give him grief about that a little bit later on. Hans Korver's words, not mine. But before we get on with the show, Lisa Leyland with me here as always. Lisa, great to be back in Russia. Yeah. What have you made of it so far?
Well, we were here last year for the juniors, and it's so nice to come back right near the Black Sea. It's a beautiful location. And the track's changed quite a bit, though, since the juniors last year. So it would be nice to see what it's like now in the races.
Put a lot of dirt on, changed a few jumps, made it a little bit shorter, but still going to be very fast. We'll talk to Thomas about that in a moment. But the weather, the same as last year?
I'd say last year was boiling, because we were a little bit later on in the year. I think we were around August. But I don't know, it's warming up again today. So
you never know.
Never know.
Okay, before we start the show, though, just a quick mention to our director out there, George. Happy birthday. How you doing? He didn't know that, by the way.
Happy birthday, G-Man.
Happy birthday. But, yeah, before we start and meet our first guest, though, obviously the motocross community was hit hard this week with the passing of Stephen Lenoir, former European 250 champion, who sadly lost his life in a motorcycle race in France on Monday. And, you know, of course, our thoughts and our wishes are with Stephen and his family at this time, and anybody else who's been affected by that tragedy. But we see some images from him. This is from 2010, when he was 250cc European champion. I think just 18 years old then. But obviously, our thoughts and our prayers out to his family. And, of course, for his family, there is a link coming up in a moment. If you want to help with any donations, with any costs or anything like that, Road to Recovery, www.roadtorecovery.com. If you go to the page there, and any donations there for Stephen Lenoir and his family, I'm sure will be greatly welcomed. Okay, on with the show. Thomas Kjer Olsen joins us, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing. Welcome to the show. First time for you. I've had quite a few of them this year. But, yeah, last year, 250 European champion. Now you're riding an MX2. Are you surprised at how quickly you've adapted to the class?
Yeah, I would say I'm surprised. I didn't expect to be this far up in the field. It obviously feels great to jump directly into the GP class and to do good directly. It's been a goal of mine for so many years, so it just feels really great. But during the off season, we were training with some of the GP guys already, and yeah, I saw that my speed was good. So yeah, I could have hoped for it, but I didn't expect it, I would say. So yeah, I'm grateful to be here.
And I'm sure some people would just expect that you've just burst onto the scene, having won the championship in such convincing style last year. But you've been doing the European Championship for quite a while. You took your first overall victory in Majora in 2014, I think riding for JTEC Honda. Yeah. So you've been around a while.
Yeah, I think I was in the class for 4 years or something. Yeah. So yeah, I jumped up to the 250 pretty early. I was always a big kid. So I actually started doing quite okay, like top 10s and stuff like that already when I was 15. And after that, I didn't progress so much. Like, yeah, it was only for last year I really took another step again, and it really showed last year on my results.
Well, last year, after you'd clinched the title, you rode as a wild card in Switzerland, at the MXGP of Switzerland. How important was that race for you, coming in as a European champion, going in as a wild card, in terms of how important was it for your preparation for MX2?
I think it was really important because I got a lot of experience only in 2 races, I think. I did 1 GP in 2014, but yeah, it never really went that good, obviously. And yeah, it gave me a little bit more confidence coming into this year, and yeah, doing the whole off season also gave me more motivation to train. And I already knew I could be up there in the top 10 from last year when I did those 2 GPs, so it helped me a lot, I would say.
Cool.
You're currently 3rd in the points. I know you said that you were surprised, but could you imagine to be so high up in the field at this stage of the game, though?
Actually not, no. After Qatar, me and Rasmus, we looked at each other and like said like, we're fourth in the championship right now. And that was the first round. So to be third right now and we're halfway, that's pretty cool.
Okay, well, let's talk about Latvia. You won both races.
Oh, no, first and second, but could have won both. He would have loved that. He would have loved it.
Other than winning both races, it couldn't have gone much better for you.
Yeah, Latvia was a great weekend. I always enjoy coming there. I've been there for some years now, so I know the track a little bit, and I've always done good. So, yeah, getting the qualifying win and good gate picks and everything, it just made me more calm for the Sunday, and I was able to win the first moto, which was really nice. I led a lot of the moto, I think, and yeah, it just felt so good being up front and seeing like guys that I wanted to race with being behind me. That was awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
You look so comfortable as well. I mean, it must have just been one of those days, the days that we all dream of.
Yeah, I was pretty confident, comfortable out front, and I was just clicking off my laps, and I could see some guys not too far behind me, so I had to keep pushing, and that helped me out a little bit, I think, because if you're out front and got a big gap, then sometimes you can start thinking a little bit, and yeah, I was happy I could keep my composure and win the moto, so. Yeah.
You're one of only riders to finish in the top 10 at every GP other than Jeremy Seewer. But what do you need to do at this stage now to close in on Pauls and Jeremy?
I need to be a little bit more stable in my riding, make a few mistakes, and be up there every weekend. Those guys are getting great starts and riding really good. So. Yeah, I just need to clean up the few mistakes and be better in the starts, and I think I'm not too far behind those guys, so I hope for some good battling for sure.
I was about to say, are you happy with your starts or not? Because last year you were a starting machine, and then you're making good starts, but maybe not great starts this year by your standards?
Actually, I think my starts is a little bit better this year with the new grill. I enjoyed that a lot. Also with my weight and stuff like that, I'm a little bit taller than almost everybody else, so I'm enjoying the new grill, and that's helping me out. But I think my start has been okay. But yeah, last weekend I was struggling a little bit. But I think we'll be back to good starts this weekend.
Okay, well, we've got a question for you from Dex on social media, and he says you're the new guy in MX2, but you don't seem to be intimidated or impressed by it. How do you do that? How do you keep your cool every round?
I think it's come together with me being in the European for so long, because I see and watching those guys for so many years, I just feel like I'm already a part of the class, and I've been riding most of the tracks and stuff like that. It just makes me more comfortable, and makes me want to go battle those guys even more.
And just really quickly before we let you go, what about the track here? First time here for MXGP. Juniors were here last year, of course, but what are your thoughts, first impressions?
Yeah, when we walked the track yesterday, it looked really, really cool. It's a big track, nice jumps, and yeah, when they started riding on it this morning, it looks a lot better already. Rods are nice, and can't wait to get out there.
All right, Thomas Kjer Olsen, thanks for joining us here, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing. Of course, you can catch him in action this weekend on MX2's class. Right, before we meet Tony Cairoli, let's take a quick look at what happened. Here's some highlights from, 2 weeks ago now? The MXGP of France, Race 2. MX2 Race 2. Jeremy Seewer thought he grabbed the foxhole shot, but from out of nowhere, the number 6, Benoit Paturel, with his first and Yamaha's foxhole shot of the season. Julian Lieber fell and was lucky to get missed by everybody as they came flying through into turn 2. Paturel led as Seewer got himself into third with that pass on Conrad Muse. He then gave chase to the 41, his main rival in the championship, Paul Jonas. Hunter Lawrence found his way down the inside of Jorge Prado to get himself into 5th place. And then he too went after the 426 of Conrad Muse. It was an easy pass at the top of one of the hills here at Ernay. Benoit Pacharel started to get his head down. He went to work, leaving Jonas and Siwa to fight it out over second. Hunter Lawrence was on his own in 4th place for Suzuki World MX2. Conrad Muse rode a lonely race initially in 5th. Lieber was charging back through the field, found his way past Brent van Donnick to get himself into 10th on the LRT KTM. Then he went around Henry Jacobi to get himself into 7th a little later on in the race. Eventually picked off Conrad Muse to finish 6th within the final couple of laps. David Herberto was having a good Grand Prix until a mistake left him down and out of the points. Muse then started to fade, came under the close attentions of Prado. Prado eventually came home in 5th, just ahead of Julian Lieber. Benoit Pacharel, the darling of the French crowd, yet to win a race, eventually came home ahead of everybody else to win his first ever Grand Prix race. It was good enough to get him on the podium for the 2nd time this year, but it was Jonas who stood victorious on the top step of the podium here in France for the 4th time this season. He extends his lead over Siwa now as well, with Olsen in 3rd, that gap now 42 points back to 2nd place. But a great day all round for the guys in MX2. So that was 2 weeks ago. That was France. This is Russia, round 10 of the FI Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Russia. Brand new circuit, Orleanoc, of course. And our next guest joins us here, Tony Cairoli, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Welcome to our studio show, Tony.
Thanks for the invite.
No problem.
Yeah.
Just after the halfway stage. It seems that after a couple of difficult seasons, Antonio Cairoli is back at the moment. You must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm really happy. But it's as a rider, when you have even a small injury it takes your confidence away. You cannot train well and you cannot test the bike how you want. So you just struggle more or less all the season. So last year actually the start was dramatic and then getting better and better until England and another injury on my hand and a broken bone in my hand. So I had to stop again with training and stuff. And this year actually we start very good in the winter with testing. That was my most important thing to do because I wanna fix the bike for myself how I wanted, and we did it. We're still working, but the bike is much better. I'm really happy about at the moment.
How difficult has it been though for you, for Claudio, everybody else in the team, knowing that 1, maybe 2 world titles went missing the last 2 years because of the problems you had?
Yeah, it's to be honest, it was my fault. So who win the titles previously deserve it because I was not ready and I was making mistakes. So, but I know myself that I could be back, and a lot of people it looks like that I was not done. That I didn't have any will to train anymore. But this is not true. Because I always it's my passion, motocross, and until I see that I can grow still and I can make good result, I keep going. So this year until now we see that it was not true what a lot of people think, and but I always think about myself,
Yeah.
So I know what I can do, and I know if it's a good year at the moment, it is. So I will try to keep on going like this, and we will see. We have no any pressure because so many titles already. So I'm really relaxed, and I just enjoy every race.
A lot of people mentioned before the start of the season, they thought, okay, you're back. Qatar more than proved that. Would you say that you were back to your best or better than ever you've ever raced?
Yeah, I'm back to my best for sure, and I know that I still can make it a little bit better inside of myself. The bike is working very good, but we are still working, and I think there is some improvement that we are searching still. And but also with yourself, it's difficult every year to find new stuff to work on after so many years. Yesterday I was chatting with Jorge. It was very funny because my first GP in Russia was in 2002 when he was just 1 year old. So it's kind of amazing, but it feels for me every day, a new challenge and a new year.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, let's talk about, I mean, your desire to win is clearly still there, and Trentino proved that. That second race was perhaps one of the best races we have ever seen. What was it like for you?
Yeah, for me it was, I was very looking forward for the GP, even if it's a track where normally I don't really enjoy to ride when it's hard pack, but I'm actually pretty okay on the track every year. So I crash in the start and I make a mistake and I stuck there, and then I start from in the back, and I only find that spot to pass, because it was a difficult track to pass, and I use it every lap, so it was good for me.
We'll have some of those passes coming up here. And what happened actually in the second corner?
Yeah, I arrive. I just missed a little ruts that was in the inside with the back, and I slide. That was my mistake. I was a little bit too aggressive on the gas, out of the corner, and I slide, and then I stuck with the Ottobiano boys. That I stuck with them. So it was kind of sad for me, because it's two good friends of mine. Rui and Tanel. So I was very pissed off for them, because they had actually a good start also.
On a track that everyone said was difficult to overtake, you made it look very easily. Like I say, just that one line. When did you realise that line was going to work? Just on that moment when you passed Tonus?
I actually realised it just on the beginning of the race, because when you come to the pack, you just with the slower riders, it's easy to overtake until one point. And it seems that everybody was doing that line from the from the 25th to the first, so to the second. So. It was kind of nice line for me, but was quite intuitive, to pass there for me.
Yeah.
And how many times have you watched this race back?
Actually, I don't watch races back. Never.
Really?
Not even this one.
No.
No?
No, because it's not. I never did it in Bast. I mean, just some races where I ride very good that I think it's okay. I ride it back. But if I see races. Where I think this is something to do, that I say to myself, what are you doing there? Then I get angry, so I don't watch it often. But that one I watch, because Jill watched it a lot of times, and my family watched it a lot of times, so I had to watch it.
I watched it a few times, and I got goose pimples every time I watched it. This is where he's going to pass.
Yeah.
Obviously, nobody likes to see riders get injured, and you arrive here now, 50 points clear of second place, Gauthier Paulin. I know it's a long season and all the rest of it, but coming into round 10, we're just after the halfway point, you must feel pretty good about that. It's better than being 50 points behind.
Yeah, for sure. It's always nice to be in front, but you can never know what happened, because I know myself. I was leading, and with a lot of points in Sweden a couple of years ago, and in one weekend I lost the race back to the salt. So you never know. I have a lot of experience on that, so I just enjoy every race, and take it easy. This is what the experience can let you feel okay with it, and I'm just racing every weekend. So
obviously you've ridden most places around the world, even Semiguri in 2012. First time back to Russia since then. First impressions of this track. I know you've not been out on track yet, but what are your first thoughts?
The layout I think is very nice. Only the ground is quite hard, and hard is okay, but there is quite much rocks, so it's kind of sketchy, to stay behind the 450. So hopefully we can have a good start and stay in front of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Ottobiano is the next round of the World Championship in 2 weeks' time. I guess you're looking forward to going back there, going back home. Do you have a message for your Italian fans? And you can answer to this camera over here if you want, in English and Italian.
Yes, for sure. I wait all Italian fans and also foreign friends, to come there and to enjoy this race, because it's going to be very, very, very nice race. A lot of people are coming, and a lot of colors, I expect on the track for this round, and hopefully I see you there. Ciao ragazzi, vi aspetto tutti a Ottobiano, mi raccomando, non mancate perché ci sarà da fare un gran tifo.
Okay, well, we have a question for you on social media, Tony. This one's from Deb126, and he says, if you win the title this year, will you retire or will you go for a 10th title? That's quite a big question.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see any retirement at the moment. I really enjoy riding, and everything is going well, so no retirement for sure, even if I win the title.
Yeah, but your contract is already until the end of 19 or 18?
18, yes.
Yeah, so there you go, Deb.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Or glad about that, whichever side of the fence you're on. But Tony, thanks for joining us in here.
Thank you.
congratulations on leading the championship at the moment, just after the halfway stage, and we'll see how it goes from the second half end. But
Thank you.
Have a good rest of season.
Thank you.
Tony Cairoli, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Right, before we meet our final guest, Marnicq Bervoets, let's see what happened from the MXGP of France 2 weeks ago. Here's highlights from MXGP Race 2. It was an action-packed MXGP Race 2 as Tony Cairoli grabbed the foxhole shot for the 6th time this year. Arminas Jasikonis went skidding to the canvas, so too did Jeffrey Herlings. He was one of the last riders to pick himself up in a field full of 30 riders. Gauthier Paulin was 4th, but made an easy pass around the outside of his teammate Nagel to go 3rd as he went after Clément de Sal and Tony Cairoli. Not the best starts for Romain Febvre, but he was always in contention. Tony Cairoli was looking more interested at the start of race 2. Glenn Koldenhoff came under the close attentions of Gauthier Paulin in what was a spectacular race, probably one of the best of the season so far. The two Yamahas of Van Hoorbeek and Febvre were duking it out. Cairoli found his way up the inside of de Sal. De Sal responded immediately though, and got himself back into the lead on his Monster Energy Kawasaki. The French fans were on their feet, so too were the mechanics in pit lane. A mistake from Koldenhoff allowed Paulin through. That was him into 3rd. He then went after Cairoli. The two traded blows at the bottom of the hill, but eventually it was Paulin who had the last laugh. He got himself into 2nd and went after Clément de Sal in a battle for the lead. The Yamaha of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek got himself into 4th place as Febvre and Herlings duked it out at the top of the hill. Febvre would eventually come out on top of that one. He also found his way past Nagel as well, who would have a mistake later on in the race. Jeffrey Herlings was riding like a man possessed. So too was everybody else. No one wanted to give up any points in Moto number 2. Romain Febvre was one of those that you could say didn't want to give up any points at all. The mistake from Nagel, cross-rutted, sent him to the ground. He picked himself up, would eventually come home in 9th. But up front, it was Clément de Sal who won his first race of 2017, and with it, the overall Grand Prix victory. Paulin, with 2nd, managed to get himself on the box. 3rd overall, Cairoli splitting the Belgian and the Frenchman this weekend. Cairoli, though, has a 50-point advantage over Gauthier Paulin now as we head to round 10. Smiles all round for the top 3 on the podium this weekend. De Sal with his first win of the season, Tony Cairoli with a big points lead, and Gauthier Paulin on the box at home. Well, that was 2 weeks ago. That was the MXGP of France. We're back here, though, at the MXGP of Russia. And our final guest on MXGP TV has joined us now, Marnicq Bervoets, the team manager for Kjer Yamaha. Welcome to our studio show, Marnicq. Good to see you again, as always.
Yes, thank you.
We're just after the halfway stage of the championship at the moment. How would you sum up the season for your riders as we enter the second half of the season?
Well, we have some ups and downs, especially with Benoit. You know, in the beginning of the season, everything was looking really good. And then we went to Italy. The first race in Italy, we had a DNF, and there it starts actually the problems we had. And also Benoit went a little bit down with speed and mentality, but now he's back. You saw last week in France, and he's back in business, like we say, and yeah, he's in the good flow now.
And what about Brent? What happened to him in France last week, or 2 weekends ago? No points, unfortunately, for him.
Yes, we had also DNF, and we had some problems with the bike, and you know, the team is working really hard, and everybody's really is trying to get the best performance from the bike, and sometimes in racing, you know, this happening. So, but we solved the problem, and hopefully we don't have those DNFs anymore, and we get a good way.
All right.
Brent is currently 8th in the championship. He took a podium already this year in Valkenswaard. He was 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Should he be a regular podium contender, do you think?
Sure. I think Brent did a really good first races this year, and also in Germany he had not so good race, I think. Yeah, it was Germany, and there it starts a little bit. You know, it's together mentality, physically he's in good shape, but there he was not so good. Then in France we have again DNF for him, so we solved this problem, and hopefully this week it will be better for him.
And what about Alvin Osland? How much did his crash in Patagonia affect him? Or maybe it didn't. What
yeah, it was a big, because he was on training, you know, in the winter we see the speed and everything, and he was really good with the guys, and in Argentina he made a crash. He had shoulder problems, and you know, you're 3-4 weeks off, and it's really difficult to come back, especially if you're not on top level. If you still have to learn and everything, it's really difficult, but hopefully it goes better every week.
Yeah.
Well, just looking at him here in Valkenswaard, that was a good hard charge through the field. You must have been pleased with that performance from Brent.
Sure, but we know he's a really good sand rider,
Yeah.
and even if he had a better start, he can win.
Yeah.
That's for sure. This is also a little bit the problem with him, that he doesn't have that good starts, and we're working really hard on him. But I think if he's coming stronger and have better starts, I think he can even win the Grand Prix in sand.
I mean, how much of, when you say the starts, how much of that do you think has been affected by the new mesh, the new grill system? Because some people started well last year, aren't starting well this year, and some didn't start good and are starting good. Is that down to
really
bike
strange.
setup, or?
It's really strange. I don't know what it is. You see also that many riders have good starts now,
Yeah.
because everybody is the same. And before, if you have a bad a start or bad qualification, you have a bad place. The ground was more bad, you know. The difference was bigger with a good start and a bad start. Now everything is the same. It's just, and that's why it's so more difficult to have a good start.
Well, you just mentioned a moment ago, Benoit got off to a great start in Qatar, second overall. Been a little bit up and down since then. But France, 2 weeks ago, certainly came back to life, and what a time to do it as well, in front of the home fans, to take his first ever MX2 race win, and got himself back on the podium. I mean, what a weekend.
Yes, really, really, really nice to see, and especially because there is a lot of pressure on that guy if you go to your own town or country Grand Prix, and he managed it, and it was a big surprise for me. Also the second heat, that he take a whole shot, and Jonas were pushing to get that place, but he keep going, and it was really nice and really good publicity and really good for him.
Yeah, and like I say, you know, I mean, it's been tough for him anyway the past year or so. He said after the race, when he spoke to Lisa, that it was Mother's Day and whatever else, and we know that just before the Czech Grand Prix last year, he lost his mum. And obviously this was a very fitting tribute, wasn't it? You know, happy Mother's Day, Mum, this one's for you. Great crowd, great occasion, and what a place to take first race win.
Yes, especially in his own country, you know.
It was almost a perfect weekend for him, wasn't it, in that respect?
Yes, because with me it was the same, Paul. I don't know with you, but when I was racing in my country, I had a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, but it was my best result all the time.
I didn't, but I didn't mind the stress. But I liked the home race, actually, because I felt more relaxed there. It was strange how it worked for me.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, fantastic ride for him. Got some great shots here as well with him enjoying his time with the crowd. But now he's had that race win, though. Do you think that pressure is off? Because he was knocking on the door last year, wasn't he, for race wins, never got them. Suddenly he has one. So have you seen a shift in his mentality already?
It looks like that. If I'm working with him, he is completely different. The last 2-3 weeks, you see a different Benoit, and also when training he's really, really fast. So I expect that he's going to do good the next Grand Prix.
Okay, well, we have a couple of questions for you on social media. This one's from Pastranoma, and he says, one of my all-time heroes. He says, if you could go back any time in your career, what would you change?
I think I will not change so much, but the only thing, the difference is that, for example, like Stefan, he was my competitor, and he has his father.
Yeah.
And he was a world champion before. He had a lot of experience. And my father passed away when I was coming to the top. I had nobody actually to help me to get that step extra. If I had a bad race or anything, I had to do it by myself. I have the problem solved by myself.
Would your dad race? Did your dad race?
Yes, he was racing with the Amateurs Federation. And this, for sure, should help me a lot more.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a kick on your ass, you know, things like that. And you're just a human being, so on that way, if he was there, my career was different, that's for sure.
Okay, and one last question from Eric Popeye. He says, how do you look back on your career? Are you disappointed you couldn't make that last step? And do you use this experience to coach the riders that you're coaching today?
Yes, I try to give that my experience to them, but I still have problems with that I was second in the World Championship.
Right.
I still If we talk about it, I get angry of it.
Yeah.
Still, it's not going away, and everybody is joking about it. Oh yeah, Marnicq, oh you were second, you know. But still, it hurts me, you know. But you have to get over it, otherwise you get ill, and but it's still hard.
Yeah, we can edit that bit out, or we can just tell everybody that he's had a great haircut.
It's because of the stress of the team.
Hans, the team manager, said you've had a haircut. He said, ask him about his haircut. And I see he's wearing a monster hat. So obviously, did they go too short?
No. I think I have too much stress with the motocross and with you, Paul. And my hair is gone.
Yeah. No, I have an easy job. I just sit in front of a camera. Anyway, look, we are out of time, but thanks for our guests joining us here today. Of course, Marnicq Bervoets, Tony Cairoli and Thomas Kjer Olsen. Don't forget, you can catch all the action today live, starting from 1:30 with the first of the 300 races, and we're pretty much flat out then right the way through the afternoon. But yeah, it's been a tough week or so with obviously the passing of Stephen Lenoir. So hopefully this weekend, you know, the spirits and all the action out on track will lift us somewhat. So enjoy your racing this weekend, and be safe, guys. See you next time.